Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's we'll be looking at this more baseline Gladiator Rubicon, and this is probably one of the most affordable ways you can get a Rubicon in today's world. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy for giving me some time with this Gladiator. Link to their website in the description down below. Link to my car buying guide as well. Let's get into it. Powering this is a 3.6 liter V6 that goes through an 8-speed, fuel economy 17 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 285 horsepower and then 260 pound-feet of torque. Before I move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So I've already reviewed a new Gladiator Rubicon, so I'm just going to touch base with some of the key points. Hood vents, always cool. Rubicon logo, also cool. And then I like the darker coloration for the grille. You've got the red recovery points, you've got the steel bumper as well. And then these tires are about 33 inches tall. You've got 17-inch wheels, solid front axle, rock rail protection here on the side. And you can see trail rated there with the badge. Solid rear axle in the back, and being a Gladiator, you've got the pickup truck bed. Still have the removable hardtop. This one's unpainted. Again, this is more baseline. The bed does have protection from the factory. You also got LED bed lights. And the Gladiator is probably the most spacious mid-size pickup truck in terms of legroom. In the rear, it's not massive by any means, but it's solid. The window does open. It's a manual. And then popping up front, you do get some soft touch here. But again, this is going to be more basic. So we've got cloth seats up front, and then you guys can see here with the payload capacity 1,080 pounds. We've got our light controls here, notice with the fog light, and then for the cab light, steering wheel manually adjustable. Pop in here, and this still has quite a bit. So you've got the gauge cluster that shows you the driveline select there off to this side. This has adaptive cruise control, federally mandated, but still it's got a pretty good resolution with the camera. And then heated seats and a heated steering wheel, dual zone climate. The window controls, it's got front and rear locking diffs, sway bar disconnect, it's got a 2-speed transfer case, you got auxiliary items, you just tie them into those switches, and then of course automatic transmission. And then you got some nice trim here on the dash, and like I said before, hardtop. And this brings us to the Windows sticker. So you can see base price $51,100. This does have some options that I think are probably worth it for a lot of people. So the heated seats, I mean, here in Utah, that's nice because it gets cold. And then the all-weather floor mats, and then the bed liner, and then the hard top. Anyways, $58,200. I think this is probably the cheapest way to get a Rubicon because the Wranglers are a little bit more money. So if you want triple lock setup, Gladiator's a way to go if you want it to be the least expensive. Anyways, let's drive it. Well, let us set off in the Gladiator. See how she does. I think this is pretty cool that, again, Jeep's lowered a lot of prices, MSRP prices, and yeah, you can still get a baseline Rubicon. So you get all of the off-road capability, and you get a few nice frills, right? Heated seats, I think that's nice to have. Heated steering wheel for those really chilly mornings, also nice to have. And I say, speaking of chilly, the temperature swing today in Utah has been pretty big for the winter time. Usually it hovers around, you know, 20, 30 degrees most of the time. Last night it got down to like almost 0, and now it's like 44 degrees. It went from a little bit cold to pretty warm and balmy. So the V6 got good torque, quick transmission. It's not the most powerful powertrain, but if you just kind of drive it laid back, relaxed, it ain't bad. It ain't bad at all. Handling is good with the new Gladiator. For a solid front axle vehicle, the steering's pretty direct. I mean, you can see here, It's got a little bit of vagueness, but it's pretty locked in overall. Comfortable seats. I think that's another high point of the Jeeps. Leather seats are a little bit more comfortable. These are good enough. That's got good power. It's got good power. Not fast though. Definitely not fast. Yeah, you gotta really, I feel like you gotta ring it out quite often. That's one thing that, it's not the end of the world, but it's not the most enticing thing, right? It's like, man, I mean, it's a good way to put this. Like, I'm okay with doing it, but I'd rather drive around a car where I can just kind of be partial throttle, let the torquey engine do the work. There's one thing I like about the 392 Wrangler is it's definitely snappy, but like you can just kind of ride the torque with that thing. 470 pound-feet of torque. And that's why Jeep needs to, I've said this so many times, but they really need to get the Hurricane in this thing. Boy, would this benefit from that treatment. So would that thing right there, the Grand Cherokee. Something to note, the steering wheel, I can't remember when they started doing this. I think it was with the 24 update. Synthetic now. This feels kind of like Toyota's Softex. So I'm interested to see how it holds up over time. I've noticed that, and I don't have, I mean, you guys can let me know if you disagree. I don't have a problem with manufacturers using these synthetic materials if they hold up better over time. Like, again, Softex is a great example that Toyota uses. That stuff looks brand new after 100, 200,000 miles. So it's like, oh, it's not real leather, but it still looks new. I'd rather have that than have like the wrinkling and the braking and all of that kind of stuff. So I think that that's a big plus. Something else, why don't they have a Gladiator Extreme Recon or X that has 35s? That's the Gladiator, okay, the Gladiator just makes no sense to me. It's like it has one of the most underpowered well, it's not, I guess, the worst in the midsize pickup truck segment, but let's see. So Nissan Frontier has more horsepower. Chevy Colorado has more horsepower. Toyota Tacoma can have more horsepower if you get the hybrid. Ford can have more horsepower if you have the V6. Honda Ridgeline has about the same amount of power. I don't know, it's like, why is this on the bottom in terms of power outputs when they obviously have they've got some cool engines, right? We've all said they should have done a V8 too, but that's what I'll finish off with. I think this is pretty cool packaging. This is all you need, right? It's got the lockers, it's got all of that, but I do think that Jeep should change a couple of things. So again, I've said this time and time again, engine, and then they should do a 35 package from the factory in the Gladiator. I'm not sure why they aren't doing that, because they do it on the Wrangler. So it's kind of strange that the Wrangler, that's the weird thing, is the Wrangler gets so much more love than the Gladiator does. And then Jeep wonders why they don't sell that many Gladiators. It's like, you don't give it the cool stuff. You don't give it 35s, you don't give it a 6.4 Hemi, and then you're like, people aren't buying Gladiators. I don't know. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on this Rubicon. It's like, it's not dirt cheap. I mean, still, but 58 grand. That ain't that bad for a triple locked sway bar disconnect, and you get the upgraded axles with the Rubicon too. So that ain't too bad for what this has in terms of the hardware. Let me know your thoughts.